This week's episode of TWIMMO is brought to you by Audible. For a free 30-day trial and to receive a free audiobook, just head on over to audible.com/gamebreaker. What's up, everybody? Welcome to This Week in MMO, episode 190 for May. It's not May. It's June 8th. I think it's the 8th. Sunday, June 8th, 2014. I'm Gary Gagne, watching GameBreaker TV. We're back This Week in MMO. Joining me this week, Mr. JKK, Justin Kennedy. How are you, sir?
Doing really good.
And joining us this week, is this your first appearance on the TWIMMO?
Oh no! But it's been like almost a year.
It's been a long time. Yeah. We still a bunch.
Something like that.
Larry from the Republic, hyperspacespeaking.com, massively, all that good stuff.
Hey.
We are here. All right, let's talk about some MMOs. Crazy week. Obviously, we've been talking all day pretty much about WildStar. If you guys want to catch all the WildStar coverage, we talked about it on UDSPR WildStar show. We talked about it a bunch on the Republic, which is our SWTOR show. Yes, we talked a lot about WildStar. And I don't know, anything left that you guys, anything that you guys wanted to bring up that we haven't brought up about WildStar?
Just
how much...
watch for DDoS attacks. That's the big thing. If
that
you're an MMO
big,
company,
gold spammers finally started. It took them a while. It took like a week, but the gold spammers have finally arrived after a week. I almost wanted to I almost wanted to take an image. I forgot to and put it out on Twitter and say, give it like an achievement to the first people who actually sent out a message to me.
I'm surprised it took that long. I've been seeing it in other games starting even like betas and stuff like that. Did we see an ESO beta?
ESO, it was like the minute that it launched, like you log in to Gold Spammer.
That's crazy. It took them a week. I wonder why it took them a week. Has Carbine talked at all or has made any sort of statements about gold farming and what they're going to do?
I haven't seen anything on it.
The biggest thing that I've seen them say talk about is that cred is supposed to dissuade that, and obviously they're going to put in some other measures of the standard measures of banning people. And
when is that happening? When is the whole cred thing happening? That's not. Is that?
It's there now. It's.
I thought they put it off on hold. I don't think.
Well, there's
some people that are selling it, or say they're selling it. So.
Charam's gonna have to fill me in on that one. I thought that was
because I asked that question too. I asked my guild today about that. I'm like, oh, I thought they were putting it off, and they're like, no, people are selling it. I'm like, okay, great, cool. I don't. You can
don't trust them if they're selling it to you in a trade. Don't believe it.
Yeah, it's on hold. People think it's on hold. So yeah, people are totally don't buy cred because obviously that sounds fishy. So don't do it. Don't do it. All right, so yeah, WildStar. Definitely the big news. Actually, the funny news of the week is I still think it's hilarious. We joke around a lot about how well Blizzard or how good Blizzard is at disrupting other people's releases and expansions and all that. And of course, in like Blizzard fashion, 5 days after Head Start, which I think was it day 2 of actual official launch? I think it was day 2. They dropped Warlords of Draenor Alpha on everybody.
Yeah,
kind of rough. You think what?
I think that's typical Blizzard. And what's really funny is I know a couple of people and one person in my guild that is in the alpha right now, and it totally seemed like a hey, don't look at WildStar, look at me kind of thing, because he's in the alpha and he's going, yeah, you can do pretty much one thing, and that's about you, and you don't even have you can level up, and that's about all you got.
Well, I heard the alliance stuff isn't even complete yet.
Yeah.
It's almost like they went, oh crap, oh well, we don't got this part done, just throw it out here.
Yeah, it's like oh, we have to have something. We have to have something to compete with WildStar. They're going to take all our people away. Let's give them some alpha to look at.
I mean, I got to say, like, initially, I don't know how it is. I'm sure it's leveled out by now, but I was watching some WildStar streams at the moment that actually happened, and I got to say, it definitely worked, because I was watching, like, Towley and some other people streaming WildStar, and instantly, the entire chat just became RIP WildStar. Like, that is just the entire chat. Like that's all anybody started typing was RIP WildStar. Everybody was moving over to different channels to see who was going to start streaming at that very minute, and then a bunch of streams would. I feel like it's leveled off already. I feel like that hype has already kind of gone away, and people are back to watching WildStar and stuff. And
right, once it lasted as long.
Once they realized that there was very little that could be streamed, they're like, oh yeah, I'm done with this. Back over to WildStar. Yeah.
I gotta say too, the other thing about WildStar is I usually use like Twitch as kind of like a barometer, like, you know, a loose one to see like how successful or how, you know, people are paying attention. I gotta say, I think WildStar's hanging in there on the list of Twitch. I use the, you know, the Twitch position of how far they get, of how many people. It's hanging in there. It's hanging in there pretty damn well right now. So a lot of people seem to be really happy with it. Most streamers I'm watching are totally psyched.
Let's go over League of Legends.
Let's not get crazy there. I mean,
it's a little hard to do that.
No, I will have to agree in general that it is definitely getting the most.
It is on the front page
out of any MMO. It's even I think it's doing better than ESO was doing whenever it first came out.
ESO was a little scary. It didn't do that well in the streaming.
Yeah, which was surprising to me considering the size of the IP for Elder Scrolls. You would think that a lot more people would play it. Now, granted, I mean you are talking about a largely single-player audience that doesn't necessarily get their kicks by watching streamers and whatnot, whereas WildStar definitely appealed to your online audience. That was who they're shooting for. That's who they pitched to, and WildStar was doing their own streams, for goodness sake, on Twitch, and so it just. The audience was already being built there, whereas the Elder Scrolls kind of fell short as far as doing live stream videos and those kinds of things. So.
Falstaff in chat room is telling us Raptor is showing it's clocking in at 605,000 hours in the first week, which is place 4 behind Dota 2 and WoW. So that's a pretty strong week, man. Wow, 4th place. That's not bad. So we're just doing a little different today. We grabbed a bunch of questions from the chat room today, and we're going to kind of throw some of them out there and just talk about some stuff. So we've got some WildStar ones in here, so I might as well grab them first since we're talking about WildStar. I don't know who this is from, but thank you for it. Does WildStar show that players prefer variety, content, and grouping over story, voice acting, lore, and open world? I don't know. Can we actually tell if that's... what do you guys think? This is actually sort of a topic that we've talked about now on UDSP, Tour, and here, and it all kind of keeps coming back to story and the types of players that happens. I don't know. What do you guys think it says about players? Do you think that they just they don't really care that much about the story anymore?
I think that remains to be seen. I do think that there is a large segment of players that just would rather not have anything to do with the story at all, who would rather who concentrate on gameplay and game mechanics and making their character in that fashion the best they can. Into it becomes a kind of an achievement of its own to be able to be good at a specific game that has absolutely nothing to do with the overarching story and whatnot. Honestly, and this is coming from me who likes story and whatnot in games, but the story side is a little more on the casual side. You won't find hardcore people that are as interested in story. Not saying that they aren't interested, but that's not their main focus. You'll find gameplay to win over the hardcore audience.
Well, and Carbine had even said that they wanted to do it that way with the story. They're like, here's our game. For those of you who are the lore buffs, who really want to get into this story, there's plenty of other things. You got digital comics out there. You've got the data cubes you can find. There's tons of little books lore books you can find in the world. You just got to read it and do all that other stuff. It's kind of like there's this whole story around it, and if you want it, you can get it. But otherwise, here's the actual game.
Yeah, I think it remains to be seen as well. I've been struggling with this whole aspect of the game myself. Like, I feel like I'm not being delivered enough of it personally, but I think I'm in the minority. I don't think the average MMO player these days really cares all that much about reading some elaborate kind of thing to kind of pull them into the story. I think that they just want to like level up, grind, kill mobs, turn in things, get more loot, and just move on with their day. I don't think I'm really the target when it comes to that.
I would have a hard time. Well, honestly, I would have a hard time saying that the average MMO player isn't interested in that sort of thing. But definitely your hardcore MMO player, the guy that's going to spend hours and hours and hours playing MMOs, they are not as interested in story. Those are the guys that are interested in game mechanics and group mechanics and all these things that make MMOs great as far as the game side is concerned. You're more casual people. You're more the people that log in a few hours a week might be more. I think those guys might be a little more interested in the story side of it. And like for me, I'm still doing storylines in Star Wars: The Old Republic. But I'm doing it casually. It's fun it's fun because I like going through the storylines and whatnot. But I do it only an hour here, an hour there. I don't like sink my teeth into it very hard. And I think that is the kind of player that is more interested in the story side of things and not your hardcore play for hours.
Well, I guess I'd have to agree on you, I guess, a bit there. Like when I look at it, if I go into say Elder Scrolls, I jump in and I play just an hour or two through just like one story segment essentially, and then I just jump off because I played my story segment. And if I want a really story driven thing that I'm going to actually get dived into for hours, it's usually going to be a single player game that gets me addicted, and I don't realize time flies by. Yep. I guess from the MMO scene, it's come to, and maybe it should always be, is just more about playing with people constantly.
The group.
And just growing through the group.
Yeah, I have to disagree with Falstaff that says in the chat room that says that casuals don't pay subscriptions, but I think they do. Obviously, they do, because I would say that the large chunk of Star Wars: The Old Republic players are casuals at this point, because the hardcore raiders and whatnot, they've already beaten everything that you could possibly do in Tor, and they're off playing other games right now. But the casuals are your core. And
World of Warcraft shows that. There's a large chunk of people who pay a sub in WoW just to jump in game and chat with people.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a social hub.
Well,
here's this kind of leads into another question about WildStar, and so the question was, should WildStar stay a sub, or do you think it's just months away from free to play? I don't think free to play is even remotely close, anywhere near coming down the road. There's something about the way it's put together, and there's so many features to the game that it absolutely, to me, feels like a sub-based game. Like, I didn't at all for 1 second look at the game and go like, this just feels like a free-to-play game. It doesn't to me. It feels absolutely worth the $15 a month.
Yeah. This feels, now that you mention it, I mean, WildStar does feel like a classic MMO, and I think that as you get into it, you start noticing all the little side endeavors and how deep those things are, like housing, how deep housing is, and all the different things that you can do with that. In fact, you can gain XP by just doing housing stuff, which is great, and you can and all the different little functionalities that are in WildStar. Yeah, it's definitely, they built this to be a sub-based game. If this was free to play, I have no idea how they would even get their money back on it, because you'd have to sell each individual piece, and that just, I don't think that would fly very well for an audience. It's definitely a sub-based game, and if rating turns out to be what it is, what it says it's going to be, I'm going to be paying that sub, and it'll be worth it to me.
Well, I think there's so much different content out there that it's like you actually are paying for access to multiple different things, like you would a theme park. That's what you're paying for. You go in and you got all these different things to do. And the games that I usually get kind of annoyed at the sub fee is a game where I know I'm logging in and all I'm doing is playing through its story. And it's like, I'm not paying for all this other stuff. And in WildStar, you are. You are literally paying for a
Well, that's exactly sort of the dilemma I'm having right now with ESO, right? I'm still paying for my sub with ESO, but I'm playing through it as a single-player game, and I'm sort of questioning it, going like, man, why am I paying $15 a month for this? Like,
they charged me today, and I went there and went, oh.
You're questioning it. Yeah, it's and I think it's because the grouping thing is not, I don't have all those options there like that. Here's another one. There's a lot of WildStar questions, obviously, so Somebody says, "Oh, we've got a big gap in MMO launches now that WildStar is out. Is that actually good for the market?" I don't know. There is a large gap. I don't even know what's next on the horizon right now.
Warlords of Draenor would, Warlords of Draenor would be the next big thing.
Yeah.
As far as that market is concerned,
Arcade is in there somewhere. I don't know how long that's going to be. And then you got H1Z1. I don't know if that's an MMO or not.
We don't even know where that. Yeah, we don't.
But we don't have any dates on any of those things.
Yeah.
We don't really know. No. We don't know Arcade. We don't know Draenor. We don't know any of the dates on those. We can only kind of.
We don't
guess.
have a. Well, we'll know the WoW launch date by like what, December 15th or something like that,
that
or 21st. They said.
Yeah, I don't really know if you could say if it's good or if it's bad for the market. I don't know. I mean,
I don't know about the market, but I can tell you that it's good. That's definitely good for WildStar.
Good for WildStar.
Yeah,
it's absolutely good for WildStar. Yeah. No question about it. I think that this they couldn't have asked for a better time to launch. I mean, especially with the issues that if Elder Scrolls Online had just like killed the market, and really brought in a whole bunch of people, I would have said that WildStar launching right now would have been in trouble. But since
what is going on with ESO right now? We keep bringing it up, and now I'm curious. I'm gonna go look at Twitch. Like, what? Where is the how is it doing? How do you guys all feel? What's your perception of it right now?
I think that a lot of people. There's a core group of people that are totally sold on Elder Scrolls Online. It's pretty much, it's very similar to the audience that was totally sold on Tor because it's a Star Wars game. This is an Elder Scrolls game. It is an Elder Scrolls game.
Right?
It's got a really good story, but I think that people have
not the. Oh my God! Sorry. Good. I'm like looking at the numbers on Twitch, and I'm just like being blown away. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I think people have stopped, have played through the content, and they're like, done. This is my single player game. I'm done with it. There's nothing else. There's nothing else for me to do, and I'm sure you're seeing that reflected on Twitch or whatever you're looking at right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like to use Twitch as like, this is not a gauge of like success or not success, but I'm just, with a game, MMOs, I don't know, they fluctuate, but still it depends on who's streaming, of course, but I don't know, I'm a little worried. 332 viewers on Elder Scrolls Online right now, down on Twitch, which is behind so many other. I mean, you always have these anomalies where it depends on the streamer, and if they go play like some odd game that has like a ton of viewers and things like that, but it dropped off really quickly. I mean, it stayed up in the top 2-3 brackets, I think, for the first couple of weeks, so it's going to be interesting. Hopefully WildStar can stay up there, because I think, as unscientific as this is, looking at Twitch for things like this, I think it does sort of say something overall that you can get a definite feel of how where the communities kind of move and shift in the gaming world.
It's always going to be the latest, greatest thing that's going to kind of be on top as far as Twitch is concerned. But
I don't know. WoW doesn't seem to move.
League of Legends is still there.
League of Legends doesn't seem to move. Dota 2 doesn't seem to move.
I still consider that there's obviously anomalies as far as that is concerned. WoW is an anomaly in and of itself. League of Legends is an anomaly of itself. Twitch is going to reflect that. So whatever
the prime game of their genre.
Exactly. So, but I do think it is a good reflection of what is happening with the community overall. You're always going to find pockets of casual people. I'm still logging into ESO every once in a while, like Justin said, I log in to play through one story, and then I'm like, that was really neat. Let me absorb that for a little bit, and then I'll take a little bit of time off and come back and play another game. But I'm not. There's nothing. I think the big thing that pushes that's pushing people in WildStar, that's pushing people in some other games is the end game. But once you get to end game in Elder Scrolls, you're pretty much doing the same thing that you did before, and so it becomes very, very repetitive. And
it's almost like ESO is very much it's a slow play game. I'm there just to experience the game itself in general and the story and stuff like that. And WildStar is definitely that very much. I know I've got all this content here that I want to go reach. And that's all the big focus on it. There's just tons of all that different things up there. And ESO is really just one-trick game, and it has its purpose and what I want to do with it, but it's just one thing and one thing only.
I mean, I definitely think it's a good game, and that if you're interested in the Elder Scrolls, storylines, because some of the stories are really kind of heart-wrenching, some of them. And they deal with situations that other MMOs don't deal with. I mean, they deal with things like loss of loved ones. They deal with whacked out cultures and racism and things along that line that other MMOs aren't really touching on. That I think, but it's kind of sad that it falls short in the gameplay area, and it falls short in the end game area, because it touches on these really, really, really cool things, but nobody wants to deal with them because they don't want to play the game.
I'll still say it has a lot to do with the fact that you can't play with your friends. It's always so hard. I hate the fact that it's hard for me to play with my friends. All right, I got a bunch of more questions I want to run through real quick. I want to stop for our sponsors, Audible. If you guys have not checked out Audible, I want to hook you up with a free 30-day trial and a free audiobook just by going to the URL audible.com/gamebreaker. That's where you're going to want to go. Sign up, make an account, download the app to your iOS device, your iPhone, your iPad. If you got an Android, they got that too. Kindle Fire, all the great stuff, any of the devices you might have, they've got an app for it. It is Sunday when we're recording this, so we're talking about pre-show. You guys are not keeping up on the Game of Thrones novels. They are all here in book 1, all of 33 hours and 50 minutes of just book 1.
The Game of Thrones, book 1 of A Song of Ice and Fire.
We're going to listen to all 33 hours right now, by the way. We'll come back and finish the rest of TWIMMO shortly.
That's right. Yeah.
Prologue.
You start with the prologue.
We should start back, Garrett urged, as the woods began to grow dark around them. The wildlings are dead. Do the dead frighten you? Sir Waymar Royce asked with just the hint of a smile. Garrett did not rise to the bait. He was an old man, past 50, and he had seen the lordlings come and go. Dead is dead, he said. We have no
Watch out for spoiler alerts. 33 hours of incoming book 1. There it is. But check it out today. You can get Game of Thrones, A Song of Fire and Ice book 1 absolutely free just by using the URL audible.com/gamebreaker. Like I said, sign up, make an account, download Game of Thrones. All the other books are on here as well if you're catching up. Tonight is Sunday, so everybody's getting ready for Game of Thrones. So what a better way to celebrate the Game of Thrones Sundays by during your week listening to all the books and playing catch up on there. So check it out today. Love having Audible on as a sponsor here at Gamebreaker, and by supporting Audible, you are directly supporting Gamebreaker to make this show and all the others possible right here on Gamebreaker. So thanks so much. Should we shift it off? Let's mix it up here and get a little different. It's not Wildstar Week. It's all we've been talking about all day. So. Let's see. What do we want to talk about here? Let's talk about... there was something here about H1Z1. You guys excited for H1Z1? When is it actually going to go into beta? Aren't they saying it's like... Aren't they actually saying it's coming really soon? I mean,
I'm pretty sure it's in July.
You're hearing July?
I feel like it's in July. I know they acted like Alpha was going to be soon. Like it was going to be really soon. That's what they felt like. And they didn't say anything about for SOE Live, but maybe at E3, I feel like we might get something on H1Z1 announced at E3. Maybe.
Really?
Maybe
you think you're gonna do E3? Because they have their own. They have the SOE FanFest.
I'm waiting to hear this one.
I think,
SOE FanFest is usually.
I think they'll save EverQuest Next Talk for FanFest.
Possibly.
I don't know. I think we're going to get everything at FanFest. I don't think we're going to get anything from it. SOE traditionally doesn't really do much at E3, so because they have their own FanFest thing, and that's a big thing for them. So
the only reason I was calling is that I'm saying Alpha for H1Z1 is July. That's the reason why.
Alpha for H1. All right. Well. It might be.
How is it shaping up? You guys been following the streams? Because I know they've been doing a lot of streaming and stuff like that, with showing a bunch of different stuff. The last thing we talked about was the radio show that everybody loved.
Yeah,
Survival.
Yes. I loved it. I don't know. I thought it was perfect for the game. No, since then, they have streamed a bit more. They showed one of the people working on the world development, he's done live streams of showing them building, how they build out those cities and stuff for the towns and how they develop that. And they're working on a town. I think he's going to come back for another stream to show the finished product that he was working on. And he's going to show that. So they're really showing how they're fleshing out and creating the variety of the town and how each little thing, from element of fences being able to knock them down or elements that won't be movable. And they're really showing that off.
I mean, I don't know if you guys are big DayZ players, but I mean, if you follow it, if you know it much, but I mean, does anything really stick out with H1Z1 that's really going to eclipse DayZ? Because DayZ is one of those games, we're talking about Twitch numbers as well. I mean, it stays up there. It's up there right now, pretty high on the list of a lot of people still love it, love watching people play it, especially. Does H1Z1 offer something that DayZ really doesn't?
I think it offers two main things from what I'm seeing is your interactability with the environment I think is to a greater scale. From boarding up houses and stuff to be protected in there, to setting stuff on fire a bit more. And then also I think it's supposed to be bigger. It's supposed to be a bigger world than just your 50-person server.
I think that that's what the biggest thing that they're going to have is persistence. And like Justin said, interactivity with the world, and I isn't good. But the thing I'm really concerned with H1Z1 is that they weren't the first, and kind of DayZ is kind of the first, and so people are going to go back to that. And so, is H1Z1 going to usurp DayZ? I kind of think not. I think that DayZ is going to remain on top because it was first. It's what people are used to, and I think that now I'm not saying that H1Z1 isn't going to pull some of that audience, because I think it will, but I don't think it's going to. I don't think it's ever going to usurp what DayZ has done.
Is DayZ going anywhere anymore though? With their lead developer gone and
well, he's not gone.
They don't even have zombies still in the game.
Dean is not gone. I mean, he's there for another till the end of the year or something. So he's not gone. Okay. He just announced that he was within a year going to be leaving. So they are still developing it. Yes, I don't think DayZ's going away. I think, but it will be interesting to see what happens after Dean leaves.
Right.
I don't know. It's a really fine line. I think they just they struck a chord. It's one of those things of. It's almost like Minecraft-ish, where you create such a hit, and then you can create a clone of a clone. But if you don't, who will you strike lightning again? It's gonna be tough. And I think the experience that DayZ offers is such a fine, let's survival sort of type of gameplay is so touchy. It's so touchy-feely. Like I feel like you could add in one or two components to something that just don't feel right and just destroys the entire game, and people just won't look back. And I think that's also why DayZ, from I've talked to Dean a few times at different conferences and stuff and talked to him about that. And one of the questions that always seem to come up is why does development seem to take so long? Why don't we see some new things and systems? And I think a lot of it is because they build some of those systems and put them in, and they so slightly change the game to the point that it becomes a different experience that could possibly push it over to the edge of just destruction, and it'll implode. So they get scared and they pull all these things back, and then they don't put them in the game. And that's why I think even DayZ Standalone came out and people thought you were going to have all these new features in the game when it came to Standalone, and then it didn't. And they were like, where were all these things you guys were talking about? And they were like, well, we put them all in, but it wasn't DayZ anymore. So I think that's going to be it's almost like a tightrope that SOE are walking here to get that survival gameplay correct.
Could SOE's alpha kick that they're on now be actually a possible downfall for H1Z1? Would it be better off releasing a more complete game to try to go up against DayZ?
I kind of have to say yes to that. I think that might be a bad thing for them, because if the initial hit of the game, when they first hit with everybody being able to get in and play H1Z1, if it doesn't equate to what people have experienced in DayZ and WarZ and all the other Z games that come out, if it doesn't match that, people are instantly going to say, this sucks. It doesn't have what I want, even though it's an alpha. I mean, it comes with the preface that it's an alpha.
We've seen other games do it, right? Yeah. We've seen other games come along and try and be the next DayZ, and it's never worked. We're still waiting. Yeah. There's been a bunch of clones that have come out and come and gone.
I think with, like, for instance, with Landmark, when they launched the alpha, there really wasn't anything out there that was like Landmark, and so therefore launching Landmark as an alpha didn't hurt them; it helped them. And
they're also unique in the creativity side. The people who want to be creative in Landmark, they're going to play it. They don't.
Right. so with H1Z1, it's a different kind of game, different kind of audience, and if they launch this in alpha, I think it's going to be a detriment to them, because it's not going to be ready. It's not going to be up to the standards that this audience is kind of used to. So if anything, they should hold off on that.
So what do you think of this?
I think a lot of people are also apprehensive because it's SOE. SOE, are they gonna make a DayZ game? People are like, are they gonna give permadeath? Am I actually gonna have to do stuff? Right. Is it free to play? Am I gonna buy guns?
Well, it's definitely going to be free to play.
That we know.
Exactly.
This kind of ties into everything we're talking about, especially with alphas and things like that. And Nyobari says that we've seen Tryon, Wildstar, and Final Fantasy XIV do community team streams on Twitch. Saying, is that the new normal for reaching out to the community? I kind of think it is. It seems like another avenue of building up some hype and stuff. We've kind of debated on whether that could have the opposite effect slightly if people get burnt out. I think the dev streams are really good. I do wonder if sometimes opening up the alphas and the early access, or not early access, but even the alphas to streaming, if that could sort of be a detriment. Because if you don't, I don't know, if you have months of streaming of a game, you could potentially see, I think, sort of just like the hype kind of wear off a little bit.
Right.
I think for any game with a story, it's a detriment or advancement in that sense. Like a regular MMO, doing an alpha is it's harmful. I mean, when you finish the content, you finished it.
I think, and as Sonata said in the chat room, I think that the devs getting on and doing streams is wonderful, and we should definitely see more of that, more dev streams. And because I think even if they have to answer the same questions multiple times, I think it is helpful, because obviously not everybody's going to see the stream when it goes live, and then if you have multiple dev streams, then you get multiple different kinds of audiences in there, and it shows the game. It shows that the developers are interested in what the community has to say. It puts faces to forum posts, and I think that there's just a lot of good community that can be built there. Now, obviously, you have to have personality. You can't have some of the dry developers on there that are out there. They're really good at their job, but they're not good in front of the camera. You don't necessarily put those guys out there, but definitely have the community team on there and people that are comfortable talking with people.
I think SOE did an amazing job recently. I don't know if you watched their 12-hour stream they had. I think it was about a month ago. They had a 12-hour stream, and it was very much a repeat cycled thing, but it was just really cool. The fact that they had these group of like 7 or 8 people, I think, from the local gaming college classes come in. They were asking questions that were being answered. They did a whole Q&A session. Then they went to go get them into a gameplay session, and while they did that, they switched over to the camera and they went to a developer, and they talked to that developer. What do you do? And had them show off some of the stuff they were doing and stuff. And then they flipped back to the group that was in the play session and showed their play session. And then they just restarted with a whole new group after that, and each time it was a different developer. And that was just a real inside awesome experience, different types of people asking questions, and just a constant rotation. It felt really good.
Yeah, and one of the repopulations, one of their last Kickstarters, was fallen behind. I mean, this is an example that I think that it absolutely works to put the developers in front of the camera on Twitch and whatnot. Is that they were falling behind in their in earning money for their Kickstarter, and they spent, I want to say, 6 to 8 hours just online answering questions about the repopulation, and they were able to meet their goal because they stayed on, because they put it in, a face to the posts and the face to the game, and actually answered questions for people, and it also, on top of that, it shows the excitement that the developers have for the game that they're making, and it's contagious. I mean, a lot of every developer that I've ever run into, I've not. Let me put it this way: I've never run into a developer that is like, yeah, our game's all right. I mean, most of them are yes, this is the greatest game we've ever made, and there is, even if they are kind of putting it on a little bit, it is.
I met a few of those developers.
Yeah.
Like, oh, things aren't going so well over here. You're cheering at the booth, and then you have beers with them, and they're like, oh, shit's so fucked up, man. Oh, man.
Yeah.
All right, here's a question about free-to-play, though. How far do you think the free-to-play trend might go with MMOs in the future? Do we see the slow death of pay-to-play or P2P, pay-to-play, I guess, MMOs in the future? So do you guys think I don't know, with the recent launch of WildStar, I don't see why we can't have both, right? Certain games feel like they're completely, if they're structured properly and they're set up for free to play, I think it completely works in their favor to be free to play. And yet when they're properly aligned with a subscription base, they're built like that from the ground up, I feel like that can work as well. I don't know. I don't think we're going to see. I think everybody thought, at one point this whole market genre was all subscription based, and then we saw League of Legends blast out, and everybody say, "All right, free to play is the way to go. Everything's going to go free to play." Now we're kind of like coming back a little bit, and you're seeing. I don't know. I think we're just going to kind of ride the middle line. I know that's kind of a lame way to think about it, but I don't think anyone's going to win out here.
Yeah, I don't think that subscriptions have ended, and I don't see a reason why free to play, buy to play, and subscriptions can't all exist in the same world. There's no reason that it can't. And I think I think you hit the nail on the head when you said, it has to do with the games being developed that way. If they're developed to be subscription, and truly developed to be subscription, not whatever Elder Scrolls Online did, where they said, yeah, we're totally going to be this, and then not live up to it. If they're truly going to put out fresh content once a month, if they're truly going to make that subscription thing worth the money, then you're going to see that game thrive as a subscription. And if they're going to do, and then, there's other games that work really well with free to play, like you said, with League of Legends. League of Legends defines what free to play should be, and buy to play. Guild Wars 2 has done an amazing job at being a buy to play game, and I think that all three of them can easily exist in the same world. And Elder Scrolls Online should go buy to play.
Justin, what are your thoughts?
Well, the sub thing is definitely it's going to stay, and number one reason I think it's going to stay is that there's so many people out there who don't want to feel nickel and dimed, and especially when we start looking more at the sandbox niche games that might be developed by people. A sandbox niche game that has a small community, anyways, those people are going to be willing to play a sub just to create that barrier of entry of people and stuff like that. And then the big, huge companies who have the ability to put out tons of stuff, like Carbine looks like they do, they can go sub because they've got that backing to be able to create all that content and push it out and keep going for it. But then there are others like League of Legends, like you said. League of Legends, obviously that wouldn't do as a sub. And it could have done buy to play, but it obviously has... there's no reason not to free to play a game like that, because you don't need to do a one-time buy. Stuff's created over time, and you can unlock it, especially PvP games that are just arenas and stuff. Either buy-to-play, free-to-play works perfectly for them. Sub really never would work for those basic PvP games.
I think Sonata hit it on the head. This is exactly how I feel. I just do not want subscription models to be used to recoup development cost and then switch to free-to-play when the numbers get low the first year. That is absolutely what I don't want to happen, and that is exactly what is happening with ESO, and that's one of the reasons why that's one of the reasons why I've written the last month and a half, all of my Tamriel Infinium columns that I've done about ESO have been negative. That is the biggest reason right there.
I think that's what
because
happened with Secret World as
you
well.
can say that, but on the flip side of that, you could play devil's advocate and say, well, what about some of these games who never anticipated having to go free to play? They wanted to stay subscription based, but they were forced to just because of their projections didn't meet. So it's like, okay, you've got two choices: you go free to play, or you just close the doors completely. Everybody loses their
Rift
jobs.
is a good example like that. Rift is a good example of one how to do that. But that's Rift. They were going sub. They wanted to go that model, and then it just didn't work, and they switched over to free to play, and that really went well for them. But when you look at a game like The Secret World, they were obviously developed and prepared to go buy to play / free to play cash shop from the very beginning, and it very felt like Funcom's like, well, just do this. Our shareholders want sub for a while, and ESO feels that way too. They've got their cash shop prepared. They're ready. They're ready to go, and they're going to start putting in armor designs or something in the cash shop whenever they're ready to jump into it after they've lost the subs. I mean, that's what it feels like from looking at it.
And no, just to be clear, ESO has not announced that they're going free to play.
Yeah.
We are just speculating because we have seen we're speculating because we've seen this road before. We've seen where this path leads, and everything that ESO is talking about, and the way they're talking about the game, and everything that is prepared. Like, they already have the cash shop and everything, like Justin said. So everything is projecting like, oh, this is going to go free to play. I mean, the writing is on the wall, if you will. You want to get biblical.
Well, I've got a few more questions here I want to get through, but this seems like a good time to stop for our sponsor. It seems like a perfect time, actually. Couldn't actually be a better time. World of Tanks. Totally free to play. It really is. I mean, I gotta commend the wargaming peeps for not for doing. We talk a lot about the free to play model and the pay to win model, and the differences between some of these companies really get how to do free to play and set up their cash shops properly and not nickel and dime you or do anything kind of just creepy and scammy. And wargaming, I think they have one of the best models out there. I mean, they follow the League of Legends model to that extent, where they just nothing is buy to win. Nothing in this game is buy to win. Everything can be gathered and gotten within the game. And it's completely free to play. No cost to download the game. And again, you guys want to support Game Breaker? Here's a perfect opportunity, because by trying out World of Tanks, you directly support Game Breaker. So if you've not checked it out, they got a brand new 9.0 update. They're doing all kinds of cool updates. They've got all these like new scenarios and stuff now where you can go through and play with your friends historic battles and stuff. It's really cool stuff. To get ready for the Havoc engine update. Crazy stuff is happening with the World of Tanks. Check it out today. Download it. Absolutely free. No box price. No monthly fee. Nothing like that. 100% free to play. gboffer.com/tanks is the URL you're going to want to use. Like I said, just by using that URL, you are directly supporting Game Breaker, this show of TWIMMO, and everything else that's going on here. So check it out today. If you haven't downloaded it, check it out. gboffer.com/tanks. All right, a couple last questions here. Let's see. Let's talk. This is a topic MMO players like to talk about, at least a subset of them. Do you guys see a trend with players that want more sandbox features in games? Do you think the industry is going to provide us with more sandbox features? So what do you guys think? I mean, do you see the average MMOer crying out for sandbox games? Crying
out, but until they get it. I mean, we got a point. There's a couple problems. There's obviously all the people who want something different. They say they want something different, and then they get mad when they get something different. And that's what a lot of them are doing right now. They want to see sandbox because it's been hyped this past year as a big thing coming out, and people are like, oh, I want that. I just want to be able to do whatever, and then they complain when they don't have direction. But I think the bigger problem behind it all is that it is harder. While it may seem like there's fewer stuff to design and make, it is harder, I think, for a developer to correctly develop a sandbox that allows the players to do so many different things without it being directional based theme park.
So I've got a theory regarding this. Imagine, okay, so the group of people that are playing MMO, that are kind of like at the heart of MMOs right now, are people who mostly came from WoW, right? Would I be incorrect in saying that the largest majority of players came from WoW, and that those are the ones that are playing MMOs right now. Those are the ones that are playing WoWstar. Those are the ones that are playing, Tor and ESO and all these other MMOs that are coming out. The next generation of players, and this includes people that are in their teens right now and that are coming up into the age of buying MMOs and things, there is a large majority of those people that are coming from Minecraft. Minecraft was huge, and this was a game that I personally, I'm like, this game looks silly. Who's going to buy this game? Initially, and then after discovering all the things that you could do with Minecraft, I'm like, oh, this totally makes sense, and this is amazing. And you actually, and the thing about Minecraft is you actually have to work to get something. You have to learn how to play and work with these intricate systems and whatnot. And this is the generation that is coming up into playing MMOs. This is the next they're my kids right now. I'm revealing something about myself here. I've got an 11-year-old that grew up with Minecraft, and that's what she's been playing. When she goes to start playing MMOs, she's going to look for that kind of thing in an MMO, and that's who I think. Anybody who's jumping onto the sandboxy thing now, the landmarks, the EverQuest Next that are jumping onto this sandbox thing, I think they're onto something, and I think that there is going to be a large chunk of people that are going to play those kinds of MMOs. That's why I think that's one of the reasons that the sandbox is making a return to the MMO space, because of Minecraft and those kinds of games. So I think they're on the right track.
Well, yeah, and I would say Minecraft is the perfect example of something that made you feel like you were a part of it, because obviously you created that world around you. Everything you did was just creating it, destroying it, creating it, whatever. And I think that's the hard part that a sandbox has to do, is it's no longer about a story that leads you through it. It's how do I present a way to make you actually feel like you're living in an alternate universe, that you're actually there and that you are part of that world. And that's where they have to grab the people. I think that's that's the most struggling thing, is how to do that. You have to create a living world from the beginning.
Oculus.
What was that?
Oculus.
Yeah.
Facebook.
Yeah, Oculus might be that next for that MMO player who's looking for that complete immersive experience of like living in a world. That's probably what it's going to take to kind of transport you to that new and exciting world. So we shall see. All right, Justin Kennedy, follow him on the Twitter at JKKennedyTV, right here on TWIMMO, Gameburger TV, all over the place. Thanks for being on the show, and we'll do it again next week. Larry Everett, follow him on the Twitter. He's got a lower third.
Oh, I do. Hey.
Yeah, but it's from the Republic. Actually, Justin had a lower third. Hang on. Wait, there he is.
There he is.
He had a TWIMMO one. There it is, JK Kennedy TV. Larry's got one from the last show. He's got one from the Republic Shadow, SHATDOE. Follow him on there. Go to hyperspacebeacon.com, which is his Star Wars The Republic website, and watch the Republic. So, all right, you can follow me at Gameburger, Gary Gannon, Gameburger TV, Facebook.com/Gameburger TV. Check out our deals page, gameburger.tv/deals, DEALS. We have daily deals all the time on games and all kinds of stuff, so definitely check that out. And we'll see you next week for some more TWIMMO. Have a great week.